Hey folks, welcome to the Australian Rock Show. My name is Dennis Gray from the Rockin' and Rollin' Gray Brothers. Thank you for your time in checking us out. We really do appreciate it. You know, I mentioned recently that we're looking at doing different things with this video channel. And one of these ideas is to bring to life and highlight previous articles which my brother and I have written. Now, I will talk about that project tentatively titled Rock and Roll Grey Matter at a later date. But essentially, it's going to be the complete volume of every single article which my brother and I have written over the years. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled for more info on that publication. Still in the planning stages, but we're very excited about that particular project. So with that in mind, we're going to look back at a live review I did earlier this year. Only a couple of months back, in fact, which was a great and glorious night of loud rock and roll, Dave Evans style, which I'd like to share with everyone. On Friday the 26th of January, Dave Evans played at the Redcliffe Leagues Club up in Queensland, which for me was quite a treat. He only does a handful of Australian gigs nowadays. I know that he also performed at Bonfest in Fremantle a couple of months back as well. So if he has someplace booked near you, I suggest you make an effort, like I did, to get along and take in some Australian rock and roll royalty. We did an extensive interview with Dave back on show number 13 of the Australian Rock Show podcast. Please make an effort to listen into that, as it was very, very detailed and covered a lot of ground. Naturally, we spoke at great length about both AC/DC and Rabbit, two bands who played a massive part in his career. But we veered away from the standard questions which Evans often gets asked, instead focusing on time periods such as his late teenage years, when he was based in the northern Queensland town of Charters Towers. We looked at his career post 1980 and beyond. It's one of my favourite interviews which we've done, and I know that if you want to learn more about the original frontman of AC/DC, I strongly recommend you taking an hour or so out of your day and listen to that episode. There is a lot to like about Dave Evans' brand of rock and roll. It's loud, it's fiery, and it's in your face. And when Evans is on form, like this evening, there's no other place I'd rather be. As their original frontman, Dave Evans will forever be tied to AC/DC. Yet if it was nostalgia which you'd come for tonight, you were in the wrong venue. Because what is in fact dealt out is a set list bursting with vital, tough-sounding rock and roll, laced with energy and raw power. Tonight, Evans is backed by local Brisbane outfit Dirty Dice, and they're a great fit. This act are tight, polished, and a band you need to make a note of. It's just the kind of stuff we dig. They hit the stage with a 1-2 punch of Can I Sit Next to You Girl, and then a raunchy Rockin' in the Parlour. 1974 never sounded so damn good. A reworked Sunset Strip taken from last year's Wild EP Cooks, and is followed by a kick-ass take of Rock and Roll Singer. Yeah, you'll find it on AC/DC's High Voltage. However, the tune dates back to the band's earliest days with Dave out front. Tonight, Evans indeed has the devil in his blood and sounds amazing. It's an important point worth noting that after all this time, his powerhouse vocals are as strong as ever. He's always had a strong vocal range, and it can be felt tonight from only a few metres away. Amazing. The Sinner album is widely regarded as one of his strongest releases, and it's a delight to hear some of that material cop an airing. Rock and Roll or Bust, Take Me Down Again and Turn It Up sound loud and fresh, but It Sold My Soul to Rock and Roll, which brings the house down, could be my choice cut of the night. Evans is giving his all tonight, and you'd better believe he means every lyric in that song. Guitarist Aaron has himself been playing for 3 decades, and it shows. He has a great guitar tone and adds much muscle to the Evans catalogue. Go Wild from the aforementioned 2017 EP Wild is a great example of this. I had my fingers crossed for a take of Revenge, the killer title track from an album Dave cut with John Nitzinger, but it wasn't to be. Instead, Dave Evans and Dirty Dice closed out a smoking set with a 4-pronged AC/DC assault comprising TNT, Highway to Hell, a crunching Let There Be Rock, and Whole Lotta Rosie. The ringing ears will subside, as will the heat of this sweaty summer show. But tonight's set is one which will live on in my rock and roll memory. I've long been of the belief that Dave Evans is the real rock and roll deal, and it's always satisfying to have that confirmed in the live environment. So there you have it, folks, a recap of the Dave Evans gig I saw at Redcliffe in Queensland back in late January, which was, as you can tell by that review, a brilliant night of loud, in-your-face rock and roll, which I enjoyed immensely, and a show which I will fondly look back on. Now, if you want to check out some of his solo material, I highly recommend the amazing Sinner album. Also, Judgment Day, which was released about 10 years back now. The Revenge album he did with John Nitzinger, that's a ripper. And last year's EP he cut with Norwegian outfit Barbed Wire, titled Wild, which was fan-damn-tastic. You can find him online at facebook.com/Dave Evans Rocks. News, gig dates, merch, it's all there. Dave Evans has long been on our rock and roll radar, a journey which for us began in the late 1970s via a cassette copy of the debut album by Rabbit. There is so much more to Dave Evans than his time in AC/DC, and I invite you to look over his back catalogue and have him fly onto your rock and roll radar as well. Too much rock and roll? Not when it's this good. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. Check us out online at australianrockshow.com. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it helps to keep you up to date with all that's happening in our rock and roll world, and it's also a great way to show your support. We'll see you on the next show, which will not be too far away. Until then, this is Dennis, out.